Welcome to the official PGBI's YouTube channel. For more information, please visit us to the official websites of the Philippine Guardians Brotherhood Incorporated www.pgbiguardiansonline.net. Rules and guidelines in the manner of recruitment. It is imperative to put into details through an implementing rules and guideline in the membership procedures stated in the PGBI Constitution in order to standardize and avoid unnecessary rituals being done to candidates by some organizers. This is also aimed to raise the competence and improve the quality of members in the furtherance of the goals of the organization. Hereunder are the detailed rules and guidelines which must be followed by all chapters nationwide and overseas after the completion of the initial testing, PGBI auxiliary stage. Membership procedures. Phase 1, Application. An applicant shall accomplish an official application form duly endorsed by any bona fide member, known as sponsor, of the organization, which shall be submitted to the screening committee of the local chapter for examination and approval, to be performed by the chapter's committee on recruitment. A. Registration of tyros, to the secretary and sponsor. B. Application fee, to the treasurer. C. Administrative announcement, by the chairman. D. Initial briefing of tyros and sponsor, by the founder or lecturer. Phase 2, Background investigation, pre-screening and evaluation in the presence of tyros and sponsor. No one shall be admitted in the organization unless his background has been thoroughly known and investigated to ensure that he will not be a liability or source of embarrassment in the future. As part of the investigation, an applicant is required to present NBI clearance and drug test result. A. Submission of requirements to the secretary. B. Submission of individual background investigation. C. Duly accomplished application forms with pictures properly endorsed by respective sponsor. D. NBI clearance and drug test result. E. Doctor's certificate, physically fit. Phase 3, Presentation of applicants. An applicant who has passed the first 2 stages of membership must be presented to all the members during a scheduled monthly meeting. In this stage, the applicant must state his personal circumstances and the reasons for joining the organization. An objection from the members will automatically disqualify the applicant, but the objection must be justified and approved by the members present. If there is no objection, the applicant must be immediately scheduled for seminar or lecture. A. Roll call of tyros and sponsors, by secretary. B. Evaluation and determination of tyros. C. Announcement of qualified tyros. D. Distribution of kit, by treasurer or secretary. E. Constitution and bylaws. F. Code of conduct. G. Legal orders, memorandum and advisories, emanating from the NHQs. H. Guardian's Song and Prayer. Phase 4, Indoctrination seminar or lecture and training. Applicants whose application forms shall have been approved shall undergo an indoctrination seminar or lecture on the objectives, aspirations, and ideals of the organization. Applicants shall donate blood to the local office of the PRC, but for those who cannot on advice of PRC shall render an equivalent of 24 hours community service. Applicants must undergo first aid training on the community and basic life support, adult cardiopulmonary resuscitation or CPR for lay rescuers, courses to be conducted by the PRC or any accredited institutions. Purpose of the innovation. Blood donated will be entered into the PGBI blood bank with the PRC, which we may use once our immediate family needs it or when we have to donate to needy people. First aid and BLS CPR training is for the benefit of individual members and for their use once the need arises. 1. Basic orientation course, seminar or lecture. Constitution and bylaws. Code of conduct. Memorandum, advisories, and legal orders from the NHQs. Civic action, bloodletting. Training. 2. First aid training in the community and basic life support, adult CPR for lay rescuers. Phase 5. Recognition. In this stage, it has been the practice of the organization to adopt certain customs and tradition by which it sets itself from other organizations and giving the members one sense of belongingness and identity essential to the progress and success of the organization. Phase 5 shall be divided into 5 stages. Stage 1, to be conducted by the Provincial or City Founders Council. A. All tyros shall submit 3 pseudonyms for immediate consideration of the provincial or city director of the Founders Group. B. Questions on the PGBI organizational structure, preamble, Articles 1, 2, 3 and 10 and its Code of Conduct. Note: all tyros must pass these 2 requirements before proceeding to the next stage. Tyros who cannot pass these stages shall be deferred for the next succeeding stages and final rites and initiation until said requirements are accomplished. Stage 2, physical fitness to be conducted by the Provincial or City Founders Group. Prior approval of the physician on every tyro. Physical fitness test for all tyros. Note: all tyros must pass these 2 requirements before proceeding to the next stage. Tyros who cannot pass these stages shall be deferred for the next succeeding stages and final rites and initiation until said requirements are accomplished. Note: time limit for this stage is 1 hour. Stage 3, initiation proper. All tyros must pay for the PGBI membership fee of prior to marking. A. A brief explanation and demonstration of the Guardian's way of greeting. B. Tyros will be allowed to convene a meeting to elect their president, secretary and treasurer for purposes only of a formal acceptance ceremony, as scheduled. C. Initiation rites as part of the customs and traditions of the Guardians movement. Markings of tattoos on tyros. Note: time limit for this stage is 3 hours. Stage 4, baptism and dunking. A. Tyros will form a circle whenever practicable and assume the kneeling position of a knight, solemn ceremony. B. Regional Founders Group Director assisted by his Chief of Staff will conduct the baptism of tyros with the pseudonym as approved by the Founders Group. C. The informal acceptance ceremony with Guardians wine drinking will be conducted. D. Tyros shall be carried and allowed to dive in a pool of water, or poured with water on the head, whichever is applicable, dunking. Note: time limit for the baptismal and dunking is 1 hour. Stage 5, formal acceptance ceremony. Program. 1. Guardian's Prayer, by Chapter Officer. 2. National Anthem, by Chapter Officer. 3. Opening Remarks, by Chapter Founder or SGF or RMG. 4. Presentation of new member, by Chapter President. 5. Induction or confirmation of new members, by Regional President or his or her. 6. Brief history of the Guardians movement, by Founders Group. 7. Briefing on customs and traditions, by Founders Group. 8. Response, by spokesmen of new members. 9. Messages, by PGBI hierarchy. 10. Closing remarks, by chapter president. 11. Recessional song, Guardian's Song, by Founders Group. Congratulations!